are you even doing? Good morning. It's the Rob from 106.1 Kiss FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting, Ramblin' Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry.
Baby, happy 2017.
Yeah, happy 2017. It's a great day for us. We got to see each other. The rare Hirschbuel Valeri meetup.
It was really awesome. The weekend that you were at my house, we had a blast. We watched old Raws. We took in Fast Lane, which we both enjoyed. I think I talked you up from a C to a B on that show.
I'm on. Yeah, it was a C plus B minus. I could go B minus. I could be talked into that.
I feel like we enjoyed the show more because we watched it together. I think that it benefited from that.
Any show would have that, I feel like.
So it was good.
That's why the 2005 Raws were possible, because we watched most of those together.
Yeah, and not Fastlane, Roadblock, End of the Line. Fastlane is the next one we're going to watch together.
That's right. Yes, it was End of the Line that we watched, and we will watch Fastlane again together. So that's pretty exciting, I feel like. And I got to see you and the family, and yeah, we had a really nice time. It was a great vacation. Yeah, the only person that had a bad time was my son when he opened your present to the family. Oh my God, he hated it. I gave your family a gift. I made like one of those photo blankets and put like photos of the Valeries into a photo collage. And I guess your son had built it up in his mind that there was some life-changing like Lego set or some sort of something fun in that box.
He's 5, and so he just assumed, I mean, he was so excited for you to come, and he knows that I talk wrestling with you, so he just thought there were wrestlers in there. I just know it. He was so ready to go. He was walking around with the box. We were waiting for my wife to be present to open it. So we waited till the next morning, and he woke me up by poking me in the head with this box, this present that you brought. And I was like, oh, buddy, it's for the family. I don't think you're going to love it. And we opened it, and it was a blanket. He started ripping up paper. Like, he just melted down, which was really funny for both of us.
It was so funny because he like just had like if a grown-up had done this, it would have been so uncouth.
Oh my God, yeah.
But when a 5-year-old does it, it's adorable.
And conversely, my daughter loves it so much, it's on her bed now. She won't let anyone else have it.
Yeah, your daughter, who's an angel, Allie, loved it, and that made me feel a lot better.
Well, because it was a really great and thoughtful gift. Evan's just a selfish jerk. That's all there is to it.
Didn't you say you had that experience on Christmas morning with him too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We gave them. Santa brought Santa's loot, and that was great. But the mom and dad gift is an experience. It's we're going to Great Wolf Lodge, which is an indoor water park, and so we told them that, and he was ticked again. He opened the box, and there wasn't something specifically for him in it, and he was mad. I was like, well, you complain to me in a month when we're swimming and it's snowing outside.
I mean, my blanket had the poor kid in tears. I just felt so awful that I gave it to you guys.
He needs more of that. That's all right.
So, yeah, we got a chance. We watched a lot of Raws on the network, and I even made it through almost all the way through King of the Ring 93 with Brett and John back at home. So
which one? What did we watch together?
That was Slamboree 93.
Slamboree 93 was pretty rough.
The Legends reunion that was the only issue. The the active roster at the time, which by the way contained the show itself contained 3 murderers.
Yeah, we had 3 murderers on there because Chris Benoit opened the show.
Yes, Benoit was on there. There was Mr. Vern Gagne, who has killed a senior citizen in his old age.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of who the third one was.
Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah, Superfly. Well, okay, we should definitely preface that by saying he's not convicted. But obviously,
Yeah.
I'll just say,
Yeah, neither is OJ.
Well, I mean, he's not right to stand trial, and I can't say we don't know what happened in 1983 with his former wife or whatever the story is, but
don't we though?
We got a cup of haters. We'll just say we got a cup of haters at Slamboree.
Cup of haters?
I wanted to start by saying, just in general, the holiday programming from WWE, it usually is kind of a holdover several week period while I'm on vacation. Like they don't do a whole lot, but I thought that this year the holiday programming was actually pretty solid in general, without getting into specifics and not talking about just last night, just Roadblock. I'm talking about everything from when I left until last night. Usually that's a slumper of a time period right around the new year. I thought it was pretty solid this year. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, they had a tag change, a tag title change. They're really moving the main event forward. They're getting ready for the Royal Rumble. I thought the storytelling was good. It wasn't as stagnant as normal. I mean, I still think Raw for the past couple weeks and SmackDown, they've suffered from some of the things they've suffered from in the past, but for the most part, they weren't phoning it in, which is what I think you're trying to say.
That is what I'm trying to say. That's a better way of wording it. And usually these 2 weeks get phoned in. So I was glad to see that they didn't. You mentioned that title change. I did think it was lame that the very first match after they made the records, the New Day loses. I thought that was kind of lame, although the match was good. Like that rubbed me the wrong way. There were other things. I can't remember Roadblock specifically. I don't want this to be a Roadblock recap, but C+, B- from me. I retained the lock, which actually was needed because I think if you look up the lock scores, it's like either three, at least since you've taken over as the co-host of the show, it's like 3-3 or 3-4. You,
I've won 3. I've only won 3, but I won them in a row, and so I started getting cocky.
Yeah, you did, because I had SummerSlam, then you got the 3 in the row, and then I got the last 2. Was that Survivor Series and Roadblock?
Yeah, and then we're reeling them off, and then we've got the Royal Rumble coming, and I feel like the Royal Rumble is going to be pretty tough to predict.
Yeah, but there'll be matches outside of that, actually. But I mean, my head's already getting thoughts about the Rumble. I'm not locking in by any means. But I also want to say, and I love this, I feel like it's very refreshing. It's north of it's over a month between pay-per-views, and that feels good to me. And I'm getting a vibe that maybe all these pay-per-views, at least from discussions that I'm seeing, are not what the WWE is maybe like they're realizing it might be kind of a mistake and that they're not as special as they used to be. And I'm hoping that the 2017 will be the last year with all of these pay-per-views.
Yeah, I think that they're realizing it because the numbers hasn't helped them any. And the people that like the product are saying it's too much. We can't keep up.
Yeah, and apparently the streaming numbers are super low for these B pay-per-views, which I mean they're really just glorified Raws. I was listening to Eric Bischoff talk about this, and that's what they've become. They don't make it any more special. So
especially when you're putting big matches on some Raws, like I thought last night's last man standing match with Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman. It's interesting to put a last man standing match on a Raw.
Well, here you're missing the big thing. Not only are you putting big matches on Raw, you're putting, and here's my complaint again, the same matches on Raw that you're putting on the pay-per-views.
Right.
Literally
the next day or 2 days later in SmackDown's case.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And not only that, like which match was better? The Braun Strowman Sami Zayn 10-minute Broadway, or the Sami Zayn Braun Strowman street fight from last night, the last man standing match? Which match was better?
Well, I like the street fight more because I thought that Braun botched part of the 10-minute guy.
Well, he did, but even if he didn't, the match last night ran circles around their first match that we're supposed to view in a higher regard because it's on the pay-per-view, so that's frustrating. And another one of my notes is, so you've got that match that was essentially a rematch from the same feud, driving me crazy. Not that the feud is, but just that the rematches are. And then how many times, whether it be pay-per-view or Raw, how many times, Jerry, have we seen TJP and Brian Kendrick go at it?
Too many.
It's the same thing over and over again. These limited rosters are killing me. That's what I can't stand about it.
And how many times are we going to see Jericho fight for the U.S. title, which Roman Reigns shouldn't have if it's not going to be his focus?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like these rematches are killing me, and they're locking themselves. They're tying their own hands, so to speak, because they're cutting their rosters in half, and that's where my problem comes in. If they would just write both shows better, you wouldn't need to split these rosters.
Yeah, and you really are. It's obvious now how thin SmackDown is when you get out of one of the better feuds of 2016, AJ Styles and John Cena. That was a great feud. And then John Cena takes a break, and he comes back, and now it's John Cena versus AJ Styles again, because who else are you going to do?
Well, AJ's already beaten everybody.
I know.
And finally he can put Ellsworth on that list after last week or 2 weeks ago.
Finally. I jinxed Ellsworth. I gave you an Ellsworth shirt, and he's gone to he's gone to crap.
I love that shirt, by the way. And then, so as soon as I get the shirt, his career takes a downward plunge, as if that was even possible.
I think it's even better, because now you're basically wearing a Brooklyn Brawler shirt, and I think that's a real conversation starter.
But it's not even a nice, like, they made it ugly intentionally. But I love that. That's what Jerry got for me for Christmas, and I do love that. The other note I have from holiday programming is that while I did think it was good for this time of year, I could have gone for a Slammy Awards.
Yeah, they didn't do Slammies this year.
Yeah, I don't know why. They're never consistent with those, though, and I wish that they would be, because I actually look forward to that. I don't know why, but I do.
One thing I wanted to make sure we mentioned, it's something that you and I noticed, and even though we just bagged a little bit on the programming of the Sami Zayn, Braun Strowman thing, Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn is the closest that we've gotten to Razor Ramon versus the 1-2-3 Kid. I think this is since we're all over the place and we're recapping stuff, I feel like you and I discovered or rediscovered over break the right way to hype a match and make people want to see a match. I
agree with that part. I'm not sure that this is a good example of it, but let's talk about this. So we were talking about this over the break. We were watching Raws from May of 1993 into June of 1993, and this was during the Razor Ramon 1-2-3 Kid feud. And you might have to help me along with this, but it was booked so well, because you've got the Kid losing to Ramon or something along those lines.
The kid beats Ramon
eventually. He eventually gets a win,
and then Razor Ramon's upset, and he wants a rematch. He wants to fight me,
so,
and the 1-2-3 Kid won't. So Razor just keeps offering money every week. It's a higher amount.
Well, so you got to do it week by week. So let's just start at week one, and let's just say week one is the Kid upset victory over Ramon.
Yes,
and then the next week you have to wait 1 week. Ramon comes out and challenges the Kid to a rematch for $1,000 or something like that. And that's it. And then the next week, the Kid comes on and says he's not going to accept the challenge. So then the next week, Ramon ups it to $2,500.
Meanwhile, the crowd is way into it. They're chanting 1-2-3 every time Scott Hall enters the ring.
Yeah, and I'm trying to tell Jerry how exciting it is during that. I think it becomes a $10,000 match, and the Kid takes it. I said it's funny because he forgets to grab the money. There's a big faux pas at the end of the match. You should look for it. And every time we're watching an episode, I'm like, this has got to be the one where the Kid fights Ramon. It's got to be. And it never wound up happening. They kept stringing us along, and it was such good storytelling but they don't do this anymore. They just keep giving you the same match over. Like, they just, like, to make you want to see Strowman and Zayn fight, they give you Strowman and Zayn fighting.
Right. Well, I use that as an example because before they started doing it, and now we're getting a lot, it was Sami Zayn's asking to fight him, and Mick says no, and Braun wants him, and then Sami's not there. So they did, to a degree, to a lesser degree, I mean, it's better than like Finn Balor shows up and wins the title the next day.
Right.
I mean, like there's some real storytelling and a little bit of suspense,
Yeah. So that, I believe, should be an example of the way I like my stories to be told. I want them to not every story has to be this way, but they don't need to start off in fisticuffs. Make us want to see them fight.
Whoever keeps picking these rematches on Raw needs to be put in a shark cage and hung above the ring.
They just made the list, but also keep in mind, they don't have a big roster to choose from. They have to have a roster.
Right.
So there's that. You mentioned Foley for a second. My next note about the show is Foley looks very frail. I know
makes me sad.
A lot of people are praising his look, and he did lose a lot of weight, and he cut his hair and stuff. My girlfriend mentioned that it looks like he has a kidney disease, and he looks like he's about to die.
He doesn't look good, and he doesn't. He's not talking as well. He's not as sharp. I mean, that was obvious. The day after Roadblock, he comes out on Raw and he shouts out Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he's in Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like that. There's something not 100% with him, and I get it. I get why. It just makes me sad. I love him so much that I almost don't want him on TV anymore.
It sounds like you agree with my note then.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
A lousy phoned in line of the night, but the only thing I tweeted from my Corey Graves Twitter account, Corey Graves said, was we might be talking about Kevin Owens in the same breath as Oprah Winfrey. Talking about the debut of the Kevin Owens show later that night, which we'll get to. The opening contest, if you think about it in a suspending disbelief kind of way, made zero sense. And let me explain this to you, unless you get where I'm going already. The stipulation for the first match made no sense. What was it? It was Rollins and Owens. That was the first match. So basically, it was saying this: listen, nobody's allowed to cheat, but whoever loses this match really isn't allowed to cheat later on tonight.
Right.
Like basically we're saying no one's allowed to interfere, but whoever loses this match really isn't allowed to interfere. Like, how stupid. That makes no sense.
Right. So I would just interfere a little bit, so you get to interfere a lot later.
I mean, so it basically says no one's allowed to interfere, but whoever loses is banned from ringside. What a dumb, like that doesn't, like in real life, that makes no sense.
No, just ban them. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so, like, you know, Jericho's such a nuisance and Jericho, it's such a problem. You know, they're always interfering in each other's matches. So we're going to hang them in a shark cage, and we can't keep them from ringside. That's a problem. But it's getting weird. And I don't know what they're going to do now with Jericho suspended above the ring, but I'm sure they're going to find a way to get him out of that cage.
I'm cool with the shark cage thing. It was just last night the stipulation made no sense. Basically, Stephanie said, neither one of you are allowed to interfere, but whoever loses is banned from ringside. That's just how dumb.
Yeah.
So there was that. We mentioned I did like the last man standing match. I thought it was a fresh take on their feud. It was pretty violent by Raw standards, and I like that Zayn didn't win. Because while they're not doing a good job of, like, you know, like with the 1, 2, 3 Kid storytelling, and the Razor Ramon storytelling, while they're not doing a good job of like making a salvate for the fight anymore, they are making a salvate for the Zayn win, I think.
Yeah, and I think that promo, that feud is over now. I feel like it ended last night.
Do you?
I do. I think I hope so. I think it's time for them both to go their own way. I think it helped them both.
I don't think it's over till Zayn gets the victory. I didn't get that vibe last night. Maybe I'm wrong.
I got the vibe at the end. Like, don't you feel like Braun Strowman is now going to be messing with those two?
No.
Reigns and
I thought
Goldberg?
about, and that's one of my notes. My other note is that the show ended on a weird note with the Strowman thing. I think they were using Strowman as a prop and a tool, the way they used Rusev during the first match with Goldberg when he returned. They wanted him to spear somebody. I think they were just using Strowman for that. I don't think he's done with Zayn. I don't think he's going to be in some sort of feud with Goldberg or Kevin Owens at all. By the way, last night they really made me want to see Owens and Goldberg, but I know we're not going to. So that's upsetting. But
do you know we're not going to?
I'm pretty sure there's no way Goldberg's facing anyone but Lesnar at WrestleMania. Right?
Right. You're right. The only way that it works is if he's going for a title shot, though.
Why?
Right?
Well, okay. Yeah, maybe you're right. Okay, you make a good point there.
Like, I don't know. I'd like to see Owens and Goldberg. I really would too. But Lesnar and Goldberg makes more sense. It really does. But there's no way to get the belt on one of them.
Does it make more sense? I'm not sure it does. I think that
people want to see it. I think people would want to see it. That's a big match. Yeah,
when you consider it's WrestleMania, I think that they're not going to consider Owens and a Goldberg. I think they're going to do Lesnar Goldberg, and I'm still kind of locking in on. They've kind of held us over for Owens and Jericho.
Yeah. Do you think the belt will be involved?
Maybe I do. I'm not positive about that part, but
I'm having a real hard time determining who's going to win that match at the Royal Rumble.
Which one?
The Reigns and Owens.
Yeah, I don't know. And then on top of that, you got the Royal Rumble itself.
Yeah, you're basically, and who, if you win the Rumble, which belt do they go after? Do they get a choice?
Yeah, I mean, I've only been thinking about it from a Raw point of view, but you're right. Who's to say, first of all, I don't know what the rules are specifically. I assume they get a choice. And I haven't even thought about it from a SmackDown point of view. I'm only thinking about it from a Raw point of view.
Because it could be, I mean, you take the winner of it, it would be pretty cool to see the winner take on AJ Styles.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential there. There really is.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to mention from last night that we didn't get to?
No, I was so Penn State football last night that I apologize that I really skimmed Raw.
It's okay.
But I feel like we hit the big stuff.
Yeah, we did. There was one other subtle funny thing that I noticed, and if you do go back and rewatch Raw, I thought this was really funny. The Titus, I'll tell you, he's the Rodney Dangerfield. He gets no respect. They went to a break like mid-word on Titus. That's how little they care about his promos.
They don't care about him at all.
Yeah, and I mean, last night, while it was probably his best promo in a long time, it still wasn't one for the ages.
Yeah, I like the, you know what, line of the night could go to Xavier Woods when he said, they don't want to see your face on a cereal box. They'd rather see your face on the back of a milk carton.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a good line. I was like, if the WWE creative somehow puts Titus in New Day, I'm done watching wrestling. I'm done.
I mean, apparently half the audience already flips off when New Day starts talking anyway. So
right, they mute it. They don't turn it off. They just mute it.
They mute it. That's what it is. All right, then. So if you're good to go, thank you for the first podcast of 2017, and may I say many, many more.
May all the acquaintance be forgot, and I don't know the other words. Happy New Year, Rob!
Happy New Year, Jerry. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday with another new edition of Post to Post.